Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope everybody's having a marvelous Monday. It's a very mellow Monday at that, also, which typically is on Fed Week. Whenever you start Fed Week, it's usually kind of chill up until we get to that Wednesday. But it's also pretty chill because, well, we're also got a lot of earnings this week, so we'll go through quite a bit of that as we got to get ready for all the things that are coming this week because there is a lot of stuff. So, nice little quiet gap up, nothing crazy. I don't even know why I'm measuring this, but 0.05%. So, yeah, I mean, essentially flat. Not much going on today. I guess from the low of the day to the high of the day, we've been within 0.3% on the SPY. That is small. Like, that is real small. So, yeah, I mean, there you go. We had a nice little 2 hour run. Well, about an hour and a half run here from about 11 Eastern to about 12:30 Eastern. Other than that, there really hasn't been much going on in the markets today. It's really all everybody's kind of waiting for all the information we're going to get for the rest of the week. So let's get wrapping up here and talk about some of that. Q's a little bit of a gap up, a little bit more of a consolidated pullback here. Nice little rip there for about an hour and a half. Very much looks like the SPY. IWM, a little bit more bullish. Obviously, it looks like it's been trending kind of bullish here even over the past couple hours. Choppiness, but trending in an upward direction, looking pretty good there. Up over 0.5% today on the IWM. All right, DIA, flat, choppy. The other day, not really doing too much, just barely negative, but essentially flat. RSP, same kind of deal. Choppy, not really doing a whole lot. A little bit of a gap down today, but kind of flat, just slightly down. Yeah, daily picture on the RSP, still just hanging out in the zone it's been in for the past month and a half. DIA, yeah, not too much kind of going on there. IWM, yep, kind of mentioned this towards the end of last week here. You had definitely a strong sell zone here, but the problem was we weren't breaking down. We had 2 days where we gapped up to this kind of zone here, kind of filling this gap that we had back from January 2nd. And 2 days in a row, we kind of just gapped up and just sold down. And kind of mentioned, like, if we don't continue to break down or we don't start to break down this, these moving averages at least soon, early this week, we're just going to get pushed higher. And I kind of thought we would wind up doing that because we weren't breaking down from an obvious spot where the market was trying to sell from. So, yeah, looking kind of good there. Up a little bit over 0.6% now. Q's kind of just hanging out, not really doing a whole lot. Pretty good gap down there on Friday from Intel's earnings. Not doing anything crazy. SPY kind of flat, not really doing a whole lot either. Yeah, not really much else to say. So we will see about things the rest of this week. So Microsoft will be having earnings Tuesday after the bell. That'll be Wednesday's trading day. Basically, all the other big tech companies will be having earnings Thursday after the bell. And then that'll be Friday's trading day. And then on Wednesday itself, we're going to have the Fed FOMC meeting, press conference, and rate decision. Most likely it's going to be flat. I think it's like nearly 100% probability that it will be that. Let's check the CME Fed Watch tool here real quick. So yeah, nearly 100%. So 97% that we're going to get a hold. Makes sense that we get a hold. Other than that, it'll probably be more important about what we hear about their plan going forward for the second half of the year, as the last time they gave us an update back in December, it was, they'd kind of mentioned 3 cuts towards the end of this year. So will there be any update to that? I don't think they will update the dot plot. I think that's an every other meeting thing that they update. So don't expect too much update on that unless somebody asks about it in the press conference. I'm sure people probably will, so we'll have a little bit of a verbal update. Anyways, we get JOLTS tomorrow morning, which would be kind of important as tomorrow the Fed chair and the committee will be meeting, so they'll probably have that bit of information. So be curious to see what that comes in at. For the rest of the week, though, after that, ISM manufacturing, non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate also coming in on Friday. Yeah, that'll be big time to see what unemployment rate comes in at. So yeah, action-packed week, huge week of economic data, Fed information, and earnings. So gonna be a fun one. Will there be volatility this week? Well, the VIX says yes, because we already spiked on it. I guess looks kind of interesting. That we already. I wouldn't really count that spike. Looks like a little market blip or something like that. So I wouldn't really worry about that spike. But trending a little bit higher. Makes sense. It's Monday. It opens higher every Monday from the close of the previous week or first trading moment of the new week. It usually opens higher from where it closed the previous week. So there you go. Yeah, I'd expect to see volatility. Dollar, kind of mentioned this pullback. Gonna get this double break here. Last week, Tuesday, Wednesday. Kind of mentioned if it closed up in this 103.7 area or higher or above that, probably just look for this thing to continue higher. With it being so close to Wednesday, Fed Day, or even JOLTS tomorrow morning, it might roll over. It might break down. So if you're saying, hey, you know, I do like the pattern here on the DXY, I would say I wouldn't take a full position. To be pretty honest, I would, you know, and I would have a pretty loose stop loss as well, just for the simple fact that we're going to have volatility this week. Things are going to move. There's a lot of information coming this week, too, especially Tuesday, Wednesday. So I'd be very mindful of all the information that we get this week. I don't know if I would be doing full on trade sizes. Make sure your stop losses are kind of loose, as we're going to get market fluctuations. We might get some quick snaps and all that kind of stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. GLD, dollar's up. Dollar looking like it's going to continue higher, but you know, with all the information we get this week, maybe not. But gold, GLD here, nice higher open. Kind of mentioned last week. This looks like it's going to kind of break down, continue to pull down, especially as dollar looks like it's going to push higher. But you see people getting kind of protective here, kind of going into gold at the beginning part of the week before, you know, a big time week. So people getting a little protective already to start the week. 10-year yield looking kind of bearish, looking like it wants to roll over here today. Okay. It might look like that up until Wednesday. That's all I can say. I mean, it could break down tomorrow, but you know, once we get to Wednesday, it might reverse and start pushing higher. Wednesday is going to be a very important day for a lot of this type of stuff. Yeah, looking pretty good there. It hasn't really broken down. Still just might be going sideways here. So we'll have to see here as we go throughout the week. 10-2 inversion. Not really doing a whole lot. Not really breaking down big time, but it's kind of pulling back a little bit. Still just in this range, so not really a whole lot kind of going on there. HYG kind of flat as well. A lot of things not moving a whole lot today. LQD looking like it has based maybe here at this level. Looking like it's trying to push up. All right. That gap up that we had this past week on Thursday, especially with that volume coming in, looking pretty good there. So that's the LQD. Here's the TLT. TLT even kind of looking like it wants to base. So with yields dropping, these guys, you know, some of these bonds are looking like they're trying to base, push higher. Okay. Let's check that sector rotation. All right, what do we got? We got energies at the lower end of the day. Down, they've been down 1%. Financials also down about 1/3%. Materials also underperforming there, down about 0.25%. Real estate, industrials, staples also underperforming there. Outperformers, communications, tech, utilities, healthcare, big outperformer, discretionaries. Now I'm going to check the heat map, but I'm going to go with a genie wizard here and say TSLA is probably leading this. Let's see. TSLA is leading that. It makes sense. They've been smoked pretty good here to start the year. Even going back to the kind of the end of December, they got smoked last week after earnings. Kind of mentioned they're going to have a pretty sharp snapback, and it might be there. So we'll take a quick look at TSLA and crude. I want to check crude as well. Check those energy markets. Yeah, you can see intraday taking out the gap. Communications, utilities, discretionaries, all days top performers. Healthcare outperforming as well. Tech, real estate, kind of in line with the market there. Industrials underperforming. Materials, staples underperforming, and biggest underperformers, financials and energies intraday. Okay. All right, so let's take a little quick look at crude, because it's crude, man. Ooh. So definitely remember. So last week when we had this breakout day on Thursday, even before that, I kind of mentioned like, hey, it looks like we're gonna go take this high. Come take this high. I'm sorry. Come take this high. We're gonna push a little bit higher. Looked like we were gonna have a 1, 2, 3 count, like on an ABC Elliott wave kind of correction here. It didn't look like this is going to be an impulsive like new 1, 2, 3. I would expect us to roll back over here on crude, but I did kind of mention that if we take these 2 wicks here, if we come up to this level and take these highs, that would be very interesting. We did not do that so far, unless we kind of reverse course and push higher for maybe tomorrow. As a look, yeah, I mean, it's not looking great. I would expect energies, commodities to probably continue to push lower. Yeah, gasoline, not looking good. Heating oil. Heating oil is actually not looking too bad. Nice gap up there, but it hasn't broken down nearly as much. Still hasn't taken this little high, though. But they all kind of have that ABC kind of wave to it. The end of last week was pretty strong, but might be a little bit overdone. Probably look for energies to at least pull back over the next, I don't know, couple weeks or so. Be my expectations. Let's check TSLA. How's that fall out? Ooh. All right. So yeah, Tesla. Since the end of December, this thing has gotten rocked. And last week, the game plan was if this thing basically gap below this horizontal level, 195, it's going to make a run lower. It basically did it in one day. Didn't know how far this thing would run. Kind of mentioned like we would get a quick retest. It did that in the first 5 minutes and it just dropped off. Now that's intraday. It could also on the daily, with this breakdown, retest higher and roll over at about this line around mid 90s because the 10 EMA will be coming down. It might push it down, maybe down to some of these levels that we had back last Q2 time frame around the 155 area, or it's going to push a little bit higher, come fill this gap, and then roll over later on, and that's very possible. So we might retest up here in a little bit. I would be, man, I don't know which way I'd kind of go with that. Man, honestly, I think I'd be more willing to just sit, not play this on the retest. Because if it does just retest in this level and it breaks back down, I think you could take that back lower. But if it pushes higher and comes up and retests up here, I think you can get. I think you that would be the spot to take the trade bearish later on. But that's just kind of my opinion here on TSLA. But yeah, this breaking down this mid 190 levels, that was a big deal. So I wouldn't play this on this mid 190 level retest. If it retests that spot and then rolls over, I would take the breakdown from last Thursday. Or if it winds up pushing up past through 190, comes up, fills this gap, but kind of fills a little bit more up to the upside, where we have this downtrending line. You know, we get these highs that all kind of connect in with this downtrending line. So if we kind of maybe come up, maybe even retest a little bit higher and then roll over later on, that's a possibility, something like that. But I wouldn't be trying to rush in to take it bearish at this mid 190 level, as we do know. I mean, TSLA has a lot of a cult-like following of traders. We'll say that, in investors. So I wouldn't be rushing into anything here. I do think this thing is massively broken. So, anyways.